Coming up next, the semifinals, test 2 for the individuals. 4 total reps completed in 3 3-minute rounds. 5 ring complex. So we're going 1 toes to ring, 1 muscle up, and 1 ring dip. They all equal 1 rep. After your 5th set of ring complexes, you are going to move across to 20 pistols, and then in your remaining time of 3 minutes, max burpee box jump overs.
Now, in terms of addressing the workout, we're going to look over at our Reg Bull tactics right now. Now, number 1, get comfy with the Ruck. It is an irregular object that we've not seen formatted in any of our traditional programming to date. It's going to be on your back. For the ladies, it's 10 pounds. For the ladies, for the men, it's 20 pounds. Next, know your capability on the rings. You're going to be baited to want to go unbroken, but it is taxing, and it is not your regular movement with additional body weight. And lastly, stay low and push the burpees. What we mean by stay low is it's an over-the-box burpee. Make sure you do not try lock out at the top of the reps. Conserve energy at the bottom, and be sure to pivot smoothly.
Some pretty solid tactics coming in there, and I think that Ruck is going to throw a lot of these athletes off. Something that we don't use very often here on the local scene. I think the closest, maybe a weighted vest back in Fittest in Cape Town 2019.
Absolutely, and I think there's an entirely different stimulus triggered here. Weighted vest, equal weight distribution across the torso, whereas now what we have is all of the weight loaded behind the athlete. So the posterior deltoid really getting tested into this one.
Time will tell as we take on that workout, but let's shift our focus over to the lane assignments for heat number 1. Women test 2. In lane 1, we've got Asma Derochet. In lane 2, Maxine Smit. In lane 3, Carla van Staden. Lane 4, Ingi Hossam Aldin. Lane 5, Tammy Taylor. In lane 6, Coralie van Tonda. Lane 7, Alicia Stoop. And in lane 8, Megan Fall. Finally in lane 9, Jessica Skinner. 10 seconds and we are going away.
Matt and they're off, and I think we're going to have to just analyze this and get an early look. We're seeing a couple of no reps already. Those muscle ups proving to be a challenge with that Ruck.
Yeah, and as you mentioned previously, that Ruck is just definitely going to add something different, something that these athletes aren't particularly used to in the ring muscle up. You can see there Megan Fall right here close to us, struggling to actually turn over and get that full pop through the rings, being dragged back by the weight on her back.
Yeah, it really, really, really is taxing. Do not also question the tricep fatigue that you're going to be enduring, both through the ring dip portion of the muscle up, the dip portion after that ring muscle up, and again with the burpees, that incessant pushing off the ground. We've not seen anybody transition just yet to those pistols, but be sure to keep your eyes dialed in on this one, because this is a really tricky complex.
Yeah, it seems like the women in this first heat are really struggling a little bit more than we maybe anticipated. Making that 3-minute time cap seem a little tighter than what we might have expected initially.
Yeah, absolutely. I think in our initial analysis of this, we assumed that there would be teams attempting to go unbroken, but that does not seem to be the case right now, at least. Maybe in the latter rounds we'll see that. Do remember 3 minutes. 3 minutes is the time cap, and the score is your max number of burpee over box jumps that you accumulate within that. In order to get there, as Matt mentioned earlier, 5 ring complexes followed by 20 pistols. Matt, new standard, you have to do 5 on one leg before moving on to the next leg.
Yeah, that's correct. So once these athletes actually get across to the 20 pistol squats, they must be done in a fashion of 5 alternating. So 5 on the right, 5 on the left, 5 on the right, 5 on the left again to get through their set of 20. Camera's focused now on Tammy Taylor, lane number 5. 45 seconds left in this time cap is really going to make this seem a little far-fetched from what we can see currently.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're approaching the 2-minute 30 mark, 30 seconds left in it, and we're yet to see anybody pivot to the pistols just yet. This just proving just how immensely tricky this test is.
A couple of athletes looking like they're actually just standing back from the rings now, getting themselves a little bit more rest. Obviously, after our 3-minute mark here, we've got one athlete onto the pistol squats.
4, 3, 2, 1,
And that's Jessie Skinner in lane number 9. Jessica Skinner, the only female to get into a set of pistol squats.
Thus far, for sure. Look, we're also going to see, this will be an interesting event as it starts to roll out because there is mandated rest here. So where you work for 3 minutes, you've got a rest of 1 minute. So it'll be interesting to see how this event might unfold moving closer to the end.
Okay, as you can see on your screen now, the clock is paused at 3 minutes. Everybody is into a forced 1 minute rest. So in 10 seconds time, we're going to kick things off, and they start right at the top of this workout again, where
4, 3, 2, 1, work.
going into our second work period. 2 of 3, the ring complex, if you just came in, comprises of a toes to ring, a ring muscle up, and a ring dip. That equals 1 rep. They need to complete 5 of these ring complexes before moving on to 20 alternating pistols. And then in the remaining time, max burpee box jump overs.
Now, Matt, this is proving to be quite a challenge to get through the first portion of this workout. And I know we've been quoting stats throughout the course of the day. It's interesting to note that on the ladies' side, that the average amount of max pull-ups in a single set, unbroken, across the field is 49.2, which means that there's definitely some capable gymnasts. But what we are seeing is that the ruck changes what we know to be our traditional gymnastic muscle up.
The ruck is changing the game in this for sure, because I'm sure we've all seen a couple of these athletes test out this leading up to the semi-final event, online or where it might be, and not have such a hard time through this complex.
Absolutely. I mean, we're looking at 10 of the 30 fittest women in Africa go head-to-head, and this is proving to be a real hard test right now.
On your screen now, you got Jessica Skinner. She's got 2 ring complexes left. Tammy Taylor now absolutely fighting out the dip at the top of the rings. Just not being successful. But what these athletes can do, where, as you could see now in lane number 5, Tammy Taylor just failed in the ring dip. She can get back into the rings, complete the dip only, and then begin the next rep. She doesn't need to complete the full sequence unbroken. You can see Megan fall over here in lane number 8, just chalking up her bicep. She seems to be chafing real bad on this rucksack. And this brings to a close our second 3-minute window.
Yeah, incredibly taxing on these ladies at the moment. That ruck posing an extreme challenge to, yes, what is a technical movement, but now we're taking the complexity of what is traditionally a ring muscle up, and we're adding in the ruck. It really throws off your center of gravity, making this extremely challenging. Alas, we find ourselves at the second portion, or the second round. They're currently on the 1 minute rest before they jump back into the next set.
You see Tammy Taylor really trying to get in the zone here for her third and final set. 3 minutes. Lane number 7 over here, we're focusing on Alicia Stoop. Standing under the rings, looking quite comfortable, with Coralie van Tondo just off to her right-hand side. Lane number 2 over here, we've got Maxine Smith. Maxine just not able to turn over through that transition phase. And again, that is most definitely just attributed to the weight of that ruck.
100%.
That's pulling these athletes back from the back.
I mean, that's almost, if we do the conversion, that's 10 pounds. It's just shy of, let's call it 4.5, 5 kgs. Adding that to your mass, but adding that behind you completely changes the stimulus of the movement. So athletes would have naturally have been training significant amount of muscle ups leading up to this event. And there we see we've got another rep getting locked out. Classy, and one more on top of the ring
that is
dip.
Maxine
There we
Smith.
go. Maxine Smith making this look incredible.
We're focusing now on Jessica Skinner, the only athlete so far to make it through the 5 ring complexes and into what seemed like the second set of pistol squats.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie, this complex is devastating at the moment. You can see these athletes, for the most part, still extremely fresh right now. The engine not being too taxed, but you can also see that on the inside of the bicep and the upper deltoid, a lot of chafing going on with that bag. Rucksack, rather.
Just something completely just throwing something into the works here. And as we spoke about it earlier, like as things get a little bit harder, things get a little bit harder. Or like as things become slightly easier for you as an athlete, you know, something else gets thrown in the mix. Ring muscle ups, you know, haven't always been the strongest point on the women's side until recent years. And now suddenly, like you've got our local athletes getting through a number of ring muscle ups, but then you throw in a rucksack, add some weights into the backpack.
Yeah, it's so interesting. I mean, Matt, like we were talking about how Adrian Bosman's programming is really taking what we know as standard CrossFit and flipping it on its head. And now, you know, we're seeing a lot of athletes get stopped dead in their tracks, but that's not like what we saw at the 2022 CrossFit Games when the crossover doubles came about.
That brings our women's Heat 1 for Test 2 to an end. And I'm sure not as action-packed as you would have hoped. But once again, we've got 3 heats of women, 2 more to go. And then just going through a couple of replays here, as you can see, athletes even breaking down the complex into individual movements.
Yeah, look, the toe-to ring element of this really not a problem for any of these athletes. The pivot over to the ring muscle up, that's kind of where we saw a lot of athletes getting undone. However, valiant effort by all of these ladies as we head soon into heat number 2. See Tammy Taylor there, almost locking it out, and unfortunately that was counted as a no rep.
A massive fight over there in the top of the rings for Tammy Taylor in that ring dip. All right, bring it to the women's lineup for heat number 2, test 2. Lane 1, we've got Sophia Benani. Lane 2, Thea Kruger. Lane 3, Max Klinsmith. Lane 4, Inga von Mansberg. Lane 5, Annika Spies. Lane 6, Michelle Baznet. Lane 7, Jessica Thompson. Lane 8, Megan McDermott. Lane number 9, Lisa Marie Guillemey. And lane 10, Dalia Al Amri.
Again, another stacked field, Matt. There's some really accomplished gymnasts within the context of this one. We saw in the last workout, at least, Max come out with an absolute flyer of a workout. As we know, Michelle Bazinet's resume is incredibly long. So hopefully in this specific round, or this specific heat, we're going to see some high-level gymnastics come through to kick this off.
Yeah, back into the high-level skill. As again, you just said in the previous heat, a lot of the athletes just getting stuck and kind of coming undone on those ring complexes. So it really would be great to see maybe a couple more athletes get into the pistols and hopefully even a couple of burpee box jump overs. Any athletes on this lineup that you're looking out for this round?
Yeah, great question. So personally for myself, looking towards Michelle Bazinet, as mentioned, tons of experience. Annika Spies, as mentioned as well earlier, and Max Kleinsmith. I'm looking towards those three to see some fireworks on the rings.
I think, you've nailed a couple of the hot hitters. But once again, Sophia Benani, that first performance from the first heat, she really did surprise us with the heavy sled. So the youngest athlete out on the field today, only turning 19 years old this weekend. Let's see what heat number 2 brings us. And away we go. Just a reminder that one of these ring complexes, 1 toaster rings, 1 ring muscle up, and 1 ring dip. As you can see there, Michelle Bazinet making this look too easy.
You know what I'm thinking? It could be so easy to get to the top, lock out, and just drop down before you put out that second ring muscle, or that second dip. We're just so used to just reloading off the top of that dip, aren't we?
Yeah, and as you could see there, she went for a nice, easy set of 3 and a very planned break. There was no failure, and that might be her secret to success moving forwards through this.
Absolutely. Good strategy to attack this one with. We'll see, hopefully, she pivots through to those pistols.
We've got focus now on Lisa Marie Guillaume, lane number 9. And there we go. Michelle Bazinet is onto the pistols already. Just over a minute in time. And as we mentioned, it's 20 pistols, but alternating every 5 reps. So 5 complete reps on the left leg, 5 on the right.
As mentioned by Matt earlier, 5 reps on the one leg, 5 reps on the other, accumulating to a total of 20. And as you would have remembered from the tips or tricks, she's now onto the burpee overbox portion of this workout. And as we said, stay low. It's going to help you not to amass too much of the cumulative effect of all that lactic acid in your legs as this race continues.
And as you can see with Michelle's stance, as she lands on the box, she's right down in the bottom of a squat and then just stepping off the other side of the box, not even extending in the slightest. Max Kleinsmith over here, moving on to a set of pistols. But Michelle Bazinet well ahead of the field with over a minute to do burpee box overs.
Now, Matt, with the ruck coming into play, us having focused the ruck in and around the gymnastics, those pistols are already pretty tricky. Now you're adding extra mass onto yourself and then doing burpee box jumps off those same legs with that extra mass.
Yeah, I think just in general, this ruck is the game changer in this whole workout.
Michelle with an absolutely lethal first round to open this one up.
4, 3, 2, 1, rest.
As you could see, Michelle Bazinet has moved her box forwards. So after every completed set of 10 burpee box jump overs, the athlete must move their box forwards into the next lane. That just gives you some reference down on the ground. At home watching your TVs, if there's a box a lane ahead, it means that that athlete has completed 10 repetitions of the burpee box over. We're in our 1 minute transition phase. This is a forced rest for all athletes. And we'll be kicking off the next round in 15 seconds.
Kicking off round number 2 right now. Let's see if that strategy pays off for Michelle. So she was very intelligent in the beginning, just breaking it up from the get-go. She clearly has quite a gymnastic resume about her. Our youngest athlete on the floor right now. 19 years of age, eh, Matt?
That's it. And only turning 19 this weekend.
That's insane.
Sophia Banani coming, born in Morocco, living in Spain, and all the way down in Johannesburg, South Africa, for the Africa edition of the Noble CrossFit Games semi-final event.
Michelle just moving so well at this point. Stringing them together right now. Really strong on the ring dip portion of this and making good use of that hip extension. Like we've seen with a few ladies, they get the initial hip drive and then somewhere between the movement kind of vacate it. She's just been methodical from the beginning.
Looking very relaxed and just cruising through it. Michelle getting to her set of pistol squats in under a minute.
Max also still getting onto those that ring portion, but moving very nicely at this point of the game. Reminder to those watching, if you've just joined, this is the Rebel Renegade Games, the semi-finals of the Noble CrossFit Games. Michelle Bazinet now onto her 20 single leg squats, aka pistol squats, but with that ruck adding an extra element of difficulty and a little bit more cumulative fatigue onto the legs before she pivots over to the burpee box jump as a max effort before the 3-minute time cap. And just to say, she is the first one to do so.
Moving through a set of pistol squats, keeping that non-working leg above the ground. The standard for these, just moving over there to Michelle Bazinet, she is moving into her set of 30 burpee box overs. So she has moved her box twice.
And why not just use the box as a rest station while you have it there?
What a convenient spot just to take a little breather. We only have one 3-minute segment left over here. A final 3-minute AMRAP. And sorry, just getting back to that pistol squat standard. So that non-working leg may not touch the ground during the course of your 5 reps. If your foot touches the floor during 5 reps on one side, that will then be counted as a no rep. And then you can continue with another one.
Interesting to note, Michelle's still looking very comfortable. Doesn't look like she's totally gassed out, well composed. She hasn't blown out her shoulders. It doesn't look like the posterior deltoid has taken too much of a beating as what we expected it to with the nature of this movement at the ruck.
I think she's been quite smart about this workout, where if she gets to the box now in the last round, you're going to see a full send effort. Maybe just reserving a little in the tank during the burpee box overs so that she can still get through her 3rd set of ring complexes.
Interesting strategy here. We're seeing her break up even the toe to bar portion, or toe to ring portion.
Megan Joy Domat on your screens now.
Breaking up all of those movements. But it's working for her. Don't doubt, however, that all of those burpee overbox jumps, all of those tricep extensions at the top of the or at the bottom of the burpee aren't causing accumulative fatigue for these athletes at the top of the ring for the dip portion.
Yeah, we definitely need to take that into account. But Michelle Basnet still just moving so nicely through this workout.
Matt, you going to try this one out later?
I would be very keen to give this little ring complex a go, but more on the testing side, not so much the 4-time side, just to actually see, where things really get uncomfortable.
It is imperative that you uphold the Holiday name, given the elite athletes that have come to this competition
Given I've
with
got
said name.
2 long-lost family members on the individual competition floor this weekend.
Michelle, back to those pistols. Matt, you noted something very interesting earlier, how certain elite level athletes just make really hard stuff look really easy. And I think Michelle is definitely one of those athletes who her wealth of experience at the top level of this game just allows her to make something that is essentially a complicated movement in the single leg squat, aka the pistol squat, look simple even with the ruck.
Yeah, of course. And I think maybe the previous event maybe wasn't in her wheelhouse per se. But coming back into this event, this is a big redemption event for Michelle Basnet. And yeah, you can see just by how she's moving through this, through the high skill, making it look so easy, how she punched a ticket to the games in 2021.
Yeah, perfect view for you to see kind of where she is in her rep range now. A little over the 20 rep mark, heading towards 30 right now. Seeing Max get onto her set of... And there you go, Matt. You called it. She gave it all full send at the end. Incredible performance by